Hello dear viewers, and we're back again right here. Good morning, Kuwait. So, delayed speech and language development is a common concern among parents, often with uncertainty about what is normal and what requires professional support. Now, with factors like daily interaction and increased screen time affecting children's communication today, early awareness is key to prevention and preventing small delays from becoming long-term challenges. Now, this topic highlights early warning signs and when timely intervention can make a real difference in a child's development. We have Maraheb Alqallaf, a speech language pathologist, or SLP. So let's say hello to her, and hello and good morning, and to Good Morning Kuwait, actually.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
All right. So when we talk about delayed speech, what is it exactly? So let's put a foundation on the meaning of delayed speech.
So first of all, a delay is actually, we have, as we say, like in general, every age comes with certain kind of skills that have to emerge. So when we say the child is delayed, there is definitely deficit in acquiring those skills at this age. I'll give you an example to make this clear. Let's say the child is 18 months old. The child is expected to say at least 10 words, 20 words in general on a daily basis. So when the child still does not say the single word, then we say the child is delayed. And in general, there's a variation in development. There's no, let's say, pinpointing that this child is delayed or not exactly. But let's say this child has 10 words, but there is another child at the same age has 5 words. Still, there's a variation, but still falls within the normal limits. So we cannot say this child is delayed just because of the few words and the other child and the higher words with the, let's say, the other child.
All right. So when can delayed speech in a child be considered within the normal range, and when does it become a sign that professional evaluation is needed? You gave an example, but there are some people that are over-concerned, and how can we actually calm them down?
Right. I always say to parents, if you feel something is off, you should trust your instinct and you act fast. Usually what happens is parents compare their child to other children at the same age in family gatherings. So they realize, no, I think there is a huge gap between my child's performance in communication and, let's say, the cousins. So they start acting fast to seek professional help. So you see huge difference. I'll give you an example, another example. So let's say the child is 1 year old. Yeah. And the child does not comprehend simple instructions, give me, no, bring the bag. But the other child, the cousin, does all the commands. So there is a huge gap because we expect at the age of 1 year, the child should be able to follow directions, just simple directions, identify body parts, just 2. Where's your nose? Point at the nose. Show me your eyes. Point at the eyes. And they should be able to respond to their names and have this excellent eye contact, especially when conversing or, you know, playing with the parents.
All right. So what are the signs that you see that a parent should always keep an eye on, just to make sure that they should go to a specialist about this? So in general, what are those signs that are, if you can consider, dangerous?
Right.
At some point? Yeah.
Right. So the most important and significant skill is actually responding to name. If the child does not respond to his or her name by the age of 1, then we suspect 2 things. Either the child has ear infection and it hasn't been detected, or the child has, let's say, language delay or other neurodevelopmental disorder like autism spectrum disorder. So the earlier we detect the problem or the delay, the better the outcomes. Okay. We're surprised sometimes the parents just wait because they say, no, I'm just going to wait and see how the child develops. I know his dad, his uncle started talking late. This is not the case because there's, again, variation in development, but we have to understand, is this a pure delay or there's anything medical involved in this?
All right. So another key point is waiting. Some people actually wait until their kids actually grow out of it.
Right.
Now, is it something that we should, always lean on, or is it something that could harm the child?
Depends on the age again,
Okay.
because therapy actually depends on the age. It doesn't mean you should, you know, so when the child starts early in therapy and other children start later in therapy, I know age is like something that you rely on,
Yeah.
but there is always hope for therapy.
I mean, that's in therapy
Yeah.
sense, but what if in the sense like a child has difficulties
Right.
in speech, and some parents are like, we don't have to go to therapy, he'll just grow out of it. So when does that waiting actually becomes okay at some point and becomes harmful at another?
Okay, so waiting after the age of 3 is harmful.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because if you read the studies and research, the first 3 years of the child's life is the most important, because children still have what we call neuroplasticity. It means the brain is able to compensate for any deficits and learn new skills.
Yeah.
So if you miss this important and critical window, the learning ability later on will not be as the same as starting to learn
Okay.
at these 3 years of age.
As they say, like well, at a certain age, you're like a cassette that is empty, and you just need to hit the record button.
Right.
It's either you actually teach them the right way and start adding information, because they're like a sponge. They just like keep
Absorb
on
all the
absorbing all the,
exactly.
the energy, the information, and they try to copy everyone.
Exactly.
I have my kid who's a year and a half right now, and he keeps copying me every time I do something. Or at times he wants to show me his world. He likes basically collecting shoes for some reason. I don't know
Oh,
why.
wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So what is the difference between speech delay and language delay, and why can confusion between them have a difference?
That's a really important question, because definitely speech delay is way different than language delay. Speech involves anything related to the clarity of the word and the sentence, how you pronounce the sounds in the word to make sense, how fluent your speech is. We expect children to have mispronunciation at the very beginning of their ages until the age of 4 or 5, where they should master all the sounds correctly. And they speak clearly. In terms of language delay, language itself divides into 3 domains. We have the comprehension, we have the expression, we have social language, and it's all involved in how you deliver and understand the message, whether from the speaker or the listener.
Okay. So now that we defined speech delay and the basics of it and how we can actually comprehend it and fix it,
Right.
let's now skip to the age of technology, where screens are everywhere right now, and
Oh, yeah.
people actually have their pads on, their telephone. I mean, these days, kids, all they want mostly are basically a tablet in their hand, or
Exactly,
or a slab of
exactly.
screen in their hand, more than actually playing with things. So how does this affect speech language in a way?
It affects it in not having real human interaction. So my only concern, and the study's concerns in terms of speech and language, is children will lack having this nice exposure to bi-directional communication. They're going to miss the opportunities to take turn during conversation. They're not going to be, I would say, competent in having this decent conversations, especially if you want to clarify your points, if you want to smoothly transition from one topic to another. You're going to see children who's excessively exposed to screens. They're so aggressive in their communication. They use different kind of vocabulary words, and you really don't know how to communicate with them. In real life, we have what we call the code switching. You speak differently when you talk to an adult. You speak differently when you speak to a child. They lack, children who are exposed to screens, they lack this code switching. They don't know how to modify their language and words when talking to others.
I think it's because simply now their entire world is around the screen and within the screen. The moment you distract them and they leave the border of the screen, they start to get agitated, they get angry.
Right.
And it's true, they don't get to learn the basics of hi and hellos, for example, or respect between a father and a grandfather,
Right.
a grandmother and a mother.
It changes the behavior, not only the communication skills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to ask is about motor skills. So a lot of kids, they have exceptional motor skills and they're very intelligent, yet their language is lacking. So what is the connection in this and what's the problem?
You just reminded me of a patient that I had a long time ago. He was 2 years back then, or 3 years. He was amazing with the puzzles, with the jigsaw puzzles. I would give him like 10 to 15 pieces, and within 10 seconds, he would just finish the puzzle.
Wow.
Keep in mind, children at this age are not able to finish even 3-piece puzzles. So this kid was amazing. His IQ, I'm guessing, is high, but his only, I would say, deficit was with communication skills. He couldn't express himself. He couldn't understand the commands and simple questions. So we have to understand that language is just a tool to express intelligence, but it's not intelligence itself.
Yeah, that's very true.
So building on his strengths, the problem-solving skills, his memory, we can build language gradually.
All right. Now, feeding and swallowing disorders and children are often overlooked. So what is the most serious problem in this?
I would say related to children, we see lots of cases of picky eaters, especially with children with autism spectrum disorder. When do we consider it as a major challenge? When the child is not developing properly, the child is not gaining weight, and let's say grow as the child should be, and we have to act immediately. How do we identify the child is a picky eater or a problem eater when they're not eating enough amount of food? When they refuse certain kind of textures, they prefer, let's say, pureed, like applesauce or mashed bananas. They don't like to eat solids like rice or proteins like meats and chicken. And they have these kind of tantrums during mealtime. And also, the average time of finishing your mealtime is within 20 minutes, but problem feeders usually extend this mealtime to 40 minutes, 60 minutes. And it causes lots of frustration, not only within the child, but with the parents, because it becomes a struggle. Just finish your food so you can get up and leave the table. It becomes like a battlefield,
It is.
And it should not, mealtime should be fun. It should be a nice opportunity, to talk and chat. So anything within these red flags, parents should seek help. First of all, from a GI doctor, gastrointestinal doctor, to get the medical clearance if the child does not have any acid reflux, and then check with a dietitian to make sure the child is getting enough nutrients from the food, and then a speech therapist, so we can work on the biological causes of feeding and swallowing disorders.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we reached the end of our interview. Actually, I really had a lot of fun actually talking to you about this, because I can relate in some of the topics you talked with my kid, especially with the eating disorder. Especially, the problem is he has some tantrums when it has to do with eating with us. He loves to eat from our plate, not from his plate. But even though both our plates are the same food, actually.
Oh, interesting.
He's more into like sitting and eating with me or with his mom, even though if it's the same plate.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So he wants to be an adult fast, huh?
Very much, yes. Anyways, thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you soon in other adventures or endeavors, as they say. And until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, dear viewers, all thanks to Maraheb Alqallaf, a speech language pathologist, SLP. And with that, dear viewers, we'll go for a break and we'll be right back.